Okay, we give everybody a few minutes to come in. This is an update on the Judge Mullen's case where the sheriff deleted him from Earth. The what I've been looking at, I watched a video and then I've been looking up the actual case. And one of the things that I found is that, and this is interesting, okay? Now, everybody says, well, the sheriff just shot the judge, but that's not what happened. The sheriff and the judge had lunch together. The sheriff was talking to the judge about a particular topic. And the judge said, would you rather come to my chambers and talk about this? And he said, of course. So they went to the judge's chambers. Now, when they got in the judge's chambers, that's when everything went crazy. But it is not like what the news is saying. The news is saying that the sheriff just pulled out his gun and started shooting. No, that's not what happened. The sheriff was trying to get a hold of his daughter, his 16-year-old daughter. His phone was not working right and would not dial for some reason. So he asked the judge, can I borrow your phone to call my daughter? The judge said, sure, and handed him his cell phone. When the sheriff put in his daughter's number, his daughter's picture and contact info came up on the judge's phone. That did not trip the sheriff off. The sheriff called, and something that the daughter said when she answered the phone tripped the sheriff off, because it was after she answered the phone that the sheriff dropped the phone in front of the judge and pulled out his revolver and blew him away. People gloss over that it wasn't until after his daughter answered the phone. So my thoughts on this are a little bit dark. The daughter is 16. This happened just a month ago. Well, almost 2 months now. There's a bunch of information that have come out about this judge in his chambers. We'll get to that in a minute. But what it apparently looks like is that the age of consent in Kentucky is 18. But that's not what's at issue. What's at issue is, why does a 55-year-old judge have the phone number to the sheriff's 16-year-old daughter on his cell phone? And even though the family now is saying, no, 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 there's nothing going on between her and the judge. That flies in the face of reality, because it wasn't until after she answered the phone. This is what I'm getting at. And I'm not being hateful or condescending or anything. I'm just looking at the facts and looking at reality. If it comes out in court something different later on, then I will change my views. But as of right now, it looks like that there was something going on between the judge and the sheriff's daughter. Because, and I say that because it wasn't till after she answered the phone that the sheriff became triggered. So it's going to come out later on what she said when she answered the phone, because all of that is recorded. All of your cell phone conversations, there's a transcript. So now let's get into the judge's background. Well, actually, this is kind of the judge's chamber's background. There's another sheriff deputy who's on trial right now for R-ing a bunch of female inmates in this judge's chambers. And one of the girls, I felt so sorry for her because he arrested her, he cut her home monitoring device off, and he R'd her, and then he stripped her clothes off and he drug her through the courthouse naked and shoved her in a cell, then took her monitoring device and put it on the judge's desk and said she fled when she was in a jail cell. He got her labeled as a fugitive so he could go back and continue his assault on her time after time. Now that case come up, she sued, and the case come up before a judge in a neighboring county. And when she described what happened, the judge wept on the stand. The judge told her, "I'm so sorry. I'm just so sorry." And so that stuff all went on in Judge Mullen's chambers. What I'm trying to find out and haven't found out yet is if Judge Mullins was behind any of that, if he knew that was going on. That's what I'm trying to find out. I haven't found that out yet, but I'll keep looking. Um, so back to the case at hand. Now, even though the family right now says, "Oh, no, 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 there was nothing going on between her and the judge." No, no. That flies in the face of reality, because her name and her phone number were on the judge's cell phone. And the the dad, who was the sheriff, he didn't get triggered until after she answered the phone. When he dialed the phone and her contact number came up, he did not say anything. He just let the phone ring. And it was after she answered the phone that he dropped the phone on the desk in front of the judge and said something to the judge and pulled out his service revolver and put 6 rounds in it. That is reality. And these people that say, "Oh, no, 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 her family says that there was nothing going on." Well, that flies in the face of reality. Because if you think about it, the reality is that the sheriff did not take out his weapon and begin to fire until after the daughter answered the phone. It was something that the daughter said when she answered the phone that tripped his trigger. No pun intended. And So when her family says, no, 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 nothing was going on. No, 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 no. Look at reality. So, like I started to say, why did a 55-year-old judge have a 16-year-old teenager um, phone number saved on his phone? And number two, why did he have, especially that teenager was the sheriff's daughter? And right, Zach, I think that the sheriff is going for temporary insanity because when he walked across the hall, immediately afterwards, turned himself in, he told the deputy, treat me right. They're trying to kidnap my daughter and my wife. Yeah, some judges do think they can get away with everything. And so why would he say they're trying to kidnap my daughter and my wife? And I had to stop it unless he's going after an insanity defense. There's something else going on there, and I believe in calling a spade a spade. And I don't believe in black and white equals gray. Black and white is black and white. Right is right, wrong is wrong. I'm also going to do a live stream on a subject that's very sensitive, and I'm doing research on it. It affects me personally, but not as in my legal defense or anything like that. It's something that happened in my family in the last couple of months. And when I do the live stream, then everybody will understand what's going on. But I need some proof and not just my opinions. Yeah, I got to answer this. Sorry, guys. Um, but this case is going to be crazy. It already is crazy. They had this hearing last month on it, and some of the stuff that the lead detective said just blew my mind away. Like, they collected the sheriff's cell phone, the judge's cell phone. They went to interview the daughter. They did not collect her phone. I was yelling at the screen. They did not collect her phone. The detective said, well, not yet. It's not important yet. Excuse me, she was the reason this happened. It was her cell phone that was called. You collect the phone. You download the info, you give her the phone back. And he also said that as lead detective, it wasn't his job to interview witnesses. How crazy is that? He's the lead detective and he feels that it's not his job to interview witnesses. That's for other people to do. And when, see, I have a bunch of cops in my family. When this came up, I called one of them that I'm very close to and told him when they went to interview the the daughter, they did not interview her alone. They let her mother be there when they interviewed her. He said standard protocol with any female witness is they send a female deputy to interview her. She's interviewed alone, but she's told at any time she can ask to talk to her parent. That was not done. That was not done. He said they did the interview in front of her mom. So being interviewed in front of her mom means her mom can give her looks, can pressure her to answer questions in a certain way instead of getting to the bottom of the truth, which is the interviewer's job, is to find out what the truth is. Yes, the FBI can safe keep the phone until the trial is over. What they do, Zach, is they take the phone and they have a software and they create an exact digital copy of the phone on a hard drive. And then they hand the phone back to the person. They do that because if she has text messages, voicemail messages from the judge to her, or from her to the judge, she can go in and delete them. And then the FBI has to take and do extra things on the phone to undelete those messages. And I just find this whole case to be bizarre, very bizarre. Just really not even, not unique is not the right word. Bizarre is the right word because the what I keep going back to is the sheriff was fine until the daughter answered the phone. Something the daughter said when she answered the phone. She's thinking that the judge is calling her. She's not thinking her dad is calling her. She's thinking the judge is calling her. And so something she says when it's the judge calling her triggers her dad. He drops the phone and pulls out his weapon, and 6 shots later. And I don't like to get in the weeds of conspiracy theories and all of that kind of stuff. I look at reality. I look at the facts as we see them right now. And even though the family says, no, no, nothing was going on between her and the judge, what did she say to the judge? No, it wasn't his wife that answered. It was the daughter that answered because he called the daughter's cell phone. And something the daughter said when she answered the phone, he tossed the phone on the desk in front of the judge and pulled his weapon. It's just very, very bizarre because now there's sudden, I call them sudden reports that, oh, well, he was a wife abuser. The daughter answered the phone. And I I think that all the judges' chambers there will get upgraded because it had video but no sound. They're going by there were other people in the room, and the other people in the room have said that this is what happened. There's four other people in the room. The four other people in the room said there was no arguing, there was no yelling. The sheriff simply needed to use the judge's phone because his phone would not dial out. The judge gave him his phone, and when he dialed the daughter's cell phone number, her contact info came up as saved on the judge's phone, and they said that when the daughter answered the phone, then the sheriff dropped the phone on the desk and pulled his weapon, and they ran out of the room. I don't know if the daughter was allowing a friend to use her phone, but what I do know is that there were witnesses that said the daughter answered the phone. It will be up to the FBI to use the phone to trace what was said, but the stupid Keystone cops didn't collect her phone. So now, and the preliminary hearing was a month after the shooting, and the lead detective said, "No, we didn't collect it yet, but we'll get around to it." This is just so bizarre that the lead detective on the case would admit in court that they didn't collect. Yes, this is true. And there are rumors that there is a sex ring in that town, but they're just rumors at this point. I don't have information on it. I don't like to talk about rumors. But with this whole thing is bizarre because the daughter is expecting it to be the judge on the phone. But then it's her dad on the phone, but she's answered the phone like it was the judge, and it could have been, like, I don't want to speculate. Yeah, I understand, Zach. Um, it could have been, well, we don't know. Like I said, I don't like to speculate, but it was, I keep going back to this because it's important. Because when the daughter's contact info came up on the phone, that did not trigger the sheriff. He did not act concerned. But when she answered the phone, that tripped his trigger. That's when he tossed the phone on the desk in front of him and apparently said something to the effect, "You bastard." But we don't know exactly what was said at that point because there's no audio recording in the judge's chambers. It's camera only, which I think that will all get changed. Right. If he did not suspect something, there's no reason for him to go berserk. But, you know, if it was my daughter and she answered the phone and said something as simple as, "Hey, dear," or "Hey, sweetie," or, you know, one of those terms, yeah, I go berserk. That would be enough to trigger any dad of a 16-year-old. Yeah, a sheriff is expected to be more rational, but you have to keep in mind they're also a dad. Dads over their daughters are not rational in most cases. In most cases, it's you did what to my daughter? You effing bastard, so and so, so and so. Where's my gun? Right. That's what I'm talking about. I have to do more. I'm going to do more research and get the facts, but I'm talking about this now because this is what this looks like now. It looks like there was something going on between the judge and the sheriff's 16-year-old daughter. And the reason for going down that road is because the sheriff did not get triggered until after the daughter spoke. The sheriff should have, before reacting, should have done what? You gotta keep in mind that sheriffs are people too. Sheriffs are dad just like me or just like maybe you or someone else, you know. And how is the sheriff supposed to get facts when he's standing in front of the judge? The judge has his 16-year-old daughter's contact info saved on his phone, and whether there was a picture or not is not important. But then when the sheriff uses the judge's phone and calls the daughter because the sheriff's phone is not working for some reason, then at that point, it becomes passion. You can say, he needs to gotten the facts. Well, you know, at that point, it's a dad protecting his daughter. You're going to tell me that a dad protecting his daughter going to go look for the facts first? But the facts would not be as consequential as a murder charge. But I'll go into this in another live. I have a personal dealing with a similar situation as this. And I have to tell you, as a dad, that I would not be rational. There's a pending court case that I will talk about in a live that no, no, what this person did, no, there's no rationality. There's anger. And I have to devote this to a live stream all on its own. And because I have some facts, but I'm getting more facts. And once I get all of the facts, I'm going to do a live stream and talk about this. And I will get emotional because it involves someone in my life that's very close to me. And it's very, very, it's going to be very upsetting to people that hear about it. And that's all I can say about it right now because I'm still getting the facts. I have the information that was told to me about what happened. I have looked up some of the information. You know, it's hard to be objective when it affects someone close to you that you love. I always try to be objective and tell you this is what the truth is. This is what I found out. But when I talk about this subject, people are going to understand why it upsets me because it's very personal to me. It happened to someone close to me who has asked for their name not to be mentioned, which I understand. But I can still talk about the person involved and what he did in his past and how he hid it from all of us. And so, yeah, it is very difficult. This happened over a month ago. It happened 2 weeks before my surgery. Yeah, it's very interesting. It involves my son-in-law and things that he did, and it deserves to get covered. And that's all I'm going to say about it because it deserves a live stream all on its own with the facts before and during and after and all of that stuff. And I have someone who is helping me get the FOIA requests so that I have the information that I can read off the actual charges. When you hear about the Charges Act, you're going to understand why I was so pissed off. And I don't want to spoil it for those that will be listening in then, but yeah, I wish more people would join the chat. I get them to come up every once in a while, but most of the time I have a bunch of people that watch on replay. But I do have a couple of people that I'm going to message about that live and ask them to please come and sorry guys, I have to take care of some business. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I have a researcher looking some stuff up on my son-in-law's case, and she sent me an email that I had to answer back to. Right. But it depends on what state you live in. In Florida, he would not be charged and he would not be convicted because Florida has what's called the Castle Doctrine, and they have stand your ground, and they have the right to uh, protect your family. Yeah. Um, the election is tomorrow. I want everybody to get out and vote. I'm not the type to tell people how to vote, but I can tell you my feelings on it. My feelings are that we should get out and vote. I'm voting for Trump because this election is this clear to me. It's between Trump or Marxist. Kamala is a known Marxist. Marxist equals communism. Her colors showed about a month ago when they asked her how she was going to control food prices. She said she was going to go after the gougers at the supermarkets. Supermarkets run on a 1% cost line. They only upgrade what they're paying by 1%. Now, one of the channels I follow is Gentry and Sons. He does a lot of transportation work, and he's been going into the mountains of North Carolina and helping them. He owns a farm. He was explaining to his followers on Friday that what is happening in our food market is all of our food that we raise as farmers is being sold to countries overseas, and then they're marking it up 100% and selling it back to the supermarkets. And that's why things are getting so out of crazy and expensive. Crazy and out expensive, rather. But back to Judge Mullins. Yeah, she's the totalitarian. She's the fascist. She is the fascist. And you can tell that because she keeps saying Trump is the fascist. Trump is the fascist. Well, a fascist is a dictator from a communist country that puts their opponent in jail. What are they trying to do to Trump? They're trying to bankrupt him and put him in jail. She is behind it. And I say she is behind it because Biden was doing it. And she said just a couple of weeks ago, she said that she could see nothing that she would do different. She said nothing. She actually said, I don't see anything that I would do different. That means that she would put Trump in jail. Anyone, that supports Trump would be put in jail because That's what they have been trying to do. They've been trying to put anyone that supported him in the past in jail, thinking incorrectly that if they put them in jail, that then no one will vote for him. Well, that hasn't worked. And when you have Democratic pollsters and analysts like James Carville said a week ago Friday that that he called her campaign and said, "Be prepared. You're going to lose in a blowout." He called them last Friday. Obama called her last Friday and told her, "Get off the campaign trail." She did not campaign from Friday. This was a week ago Friday until Sunday night. I don't think they're done yet either. But on an interesting note, on Saturday night, there was, after Mark Cuban's stupid statement saying that the women that surround Trump are weak and unintelligent. So Laura Trump, who's definitely not weak, had 8 women around Trump that support him, that are strong uh, Republican women, and one of them is Danica Patrick. And Danica Patrick took off her jacket and showed her buff arms, and she said, "I up until this election, I never voted because I never thought my vote matters, but I'm voting for Donald Trump. I am a NASCAR driver. I am not weak and I'm not dumb." And she said, "When I met Donald Trump, he said, 'We need to get you a job. How would you like to be Deputy Secretary of Transportation?'" And then one of the hosts asked her about being head of the Secret Service. She said, "If I was head of the Secret Service, Butler would have never happened." Point blank. But then she said, "Put me in the getaway car. Nobody will catch us." I like Danica Patrick. Um, they had Christy Nome there. Now, the whole situation with Christy Nome, people try to say, "Oh, she killed her puppy." No, her her puppy was 14 months old. It was vicious. It had attacked and bitten members of her family. She hired 4 trainers, 4, and it bit all 4 trainers. And she took it upon herself to put the dog down. Not a lot of people can do that. That takes toughness and that takes guts. Most people would take the dog to the vet and say, "Here, put it down, boo hoo, walk away." But to actually go and do it yourself, that takes guts and that takes toughness. And all these left left leaning loons that say, "Oh, she killed her puppy." Well, if your puppy bit 3 members of your family and bit 4 different trainers, I would say it's time to put the puppy down. Right. So, to she's Christy Nome is a rancher. She owns a large ranch in South Dakota. Ranchers are known for being tough and to be a do-it-yourself kind of person. And so I don't fault her for that. She's a very smart governor. She was one of the first governors when they said, shut it down. She said, not on my watch. I'm not shutting my state down. It was her, and then DeSantis in Florida, and it's just sad that we live in a society that wants to point fingers and blame without finding out the truth. You know, and they said, "Oh, she's blown up her political career." Well, I don't think so. She's very popular in the state. You know, just because she took herself off of the VP position by that coming out doesn't mean that her career is over. These people kill me. But on that other subject, um, I will probably do that on the weekend because like I said, I have somebody that's doing research for me. Um, and I think that deserves the truth. It deserves the research. And while it affects me, I think it's going to affect a lot of you too. Because when you find out what I've been dealing with and that I've been not saying much about it, you're going to be shocked at what has been found out. All right, we're going on 50 minutes. So I'm going to get off of here. And I do hope that on future lives that others will comment because I really enjoy answering people's questions. So take care, guys, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow. Bye.